What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Tours DC Multiverse Dark Knight's Death Metal Superman. And so here we have the Death Metal Superman posing out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Death Metal Superman does come with 2 pairs of hands. We do get a pair of fists. Then he does come with a pair of grasping hands. Death Metal Superman also comes with the arms of the Darkfather Build-A-Figure, which we'll have a better look at when he's all put together. And then of course we get the McFarlane display stand. Other than that, Death Metal Superman doesn't come with anything else. I think an alternate head would have been nice for him, but unfortunately he doesn't come with one. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually take a closer look at Death Metal Superman. And so here we have a closer look at the Death Metal Superman, and I'm going to be the first person to tell you I am not a fan of this face. It does not look a thing like Greg Capullo's artwork, and if it does, it's from a really bad panel, and not a fan of this head sculpt. The hair is nice. I'll give credit to the hair. It's done really well. I do like the longer hair on the Death Metal Superman. It looks really nice. But the face is terrible. I mean, from this angle, it looks like it could be a really good Superman, but then when you turn it, it's like, oh my god, it's really big, jacked Michael Jackson, and it doesn't even match the skin tone. You can see like a huge tonal difference from his neck to his face, and it just looks bad. I don't even know what's going on with his face. Why is he making that face? I guess the one positive is that the eyes are painted fairly good. Yeah, it looks like this eye is trying to escape his face, which looks bad. Honestly, this is a really terrible head sculpt and not one of my favorites. If I had a Superman head to swap that out with, I would. In no time flat, I would swap this head in a heartbeat. But looking at the rest of the figure, ignoring the head, he is exceptionally well done, and I do like it. He does use some retooled parts from the Infected / Bizarro Superman, being his torso right here. And I do mean retooled because it doesn't have the pegs for the cape, but it still has the separate piece for the neck and the separate piece for the S-shield, which looks really nice. It is a little bit sloppy, especially the way it looks down here. The way it's sculpted, it just looks weird coming down. If it had just looked like that and just filled out right about there, it would look fine. Don't know why they brought it all the way down. It looks a little bit weird, and the paint isn't as good as you would expect. But yeah, you can see he still carries over the panel lining from the Infected Superman and Bizarro, and you get a better look at what it looks like on the back right here. So, interesting thing about this figure is that his right arm is all dark-sided out. You can see it does look like he has part of the anti-life equation already in him, and it looks really nice. I don't remember, is this a dark side arm or a doomsday arm? I want to say it's dark side, but I could be mistaken. If it was Doomsday, I think he would have more spiky protrusions. And then he does have a pair of Kryptonian duster knuckles with the S-shield on it, which looks really nice. Really like that little detail, and both the alternate hands have this, so that's a really nice little thing. Then we have a look at his left arm, where he does have what I'm going to guess is his cape just wrapped around his arm. He doesn't have his cape traditionally, so I'm guessing that this is supposed to be his cape. It makes the most sense why he has it wrapped around his arms. It's his cape. And that's the headcanon I'm going with, and if that's the canon in the actual Death Metal, then that's what we're going with. But yeah, I really do like it. It's a nice shade of red, and you can see a little bit of tonal difference from here to here because the red wrapping right here on his arm is molded plastic, where this is painted plastic. Same thing for the hand. It does appear that the flesh tone is painted, while this matches a little bit better. Having a look at the rest of his costume, he is wearing black pants, which is reminiscent of the Infected Superman and Bizarro mold, so it's just retooled, so I do like that. The chains are done beautifully. I love how these chains are done. They do have some paint on them just so it looks like they are empty, but they are solid all the way around. I kind of wish that they carried over all that paint just to give it that slight illusion, but it does look really nice. I do like it, and you can see the detailing on it is phenomenal. Then we go on to his boots where he has more wrapping. As you can see, he has a knot right here on his right side, and then we have a knot on his left side, and then you can see his boots are all decked out in buckles and belts and clips, and just, ooh, this looks so menacing, to be quite honest. And I do love the asymmetry here. They don't look alike, and I don't expect them to, but yeah, this is a really nice looking figure. Minus the head. If they had done a much better head sculpt, I think I would enjoy this figure much more, but for what it is, it's still a pretty decent figure. And I gotta give him props. It looks a lot like it does in the comics, minus the head sculpt. The head sculpt is terrible. Terrible head sculpt. It looks like Michael Jackson, to be quite honest. It looks like Michael Jackson put on weight. I know that's bad to say, but that's what it looks like. I mean, from this angle, he looks like he's gonna say hee hee. And that's terrible. I'm getting off topic here. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually stop doing the hee-hees and move on to his comparisons. And so here we have the Death Metal Superman pose next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Death Metal Superman pose next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective, Popeye the Sailor Man. And finally, here we do have Death Metal Superman posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now, Death Metal Superman does have some interesting points of articulation. We'll discuss that as we go through. He does have a double ball joint in the head, but because of his hair, he can only look up to about that far. He can look down to about there. If you try pushing it further, you pop his head off that joint, and like I said, it is a double ball joint, so it does get some pretty good movement there, and it does fit on nicely. And we do get some really nice head tilt on it, and of course it goes left and right, moves all the way around. Pretty good articulation there. His arms are on ball joints that do go forward and back, pivot up and down as you need them to, so that's really nice. They both go all the way around. Now, normally on action figures, the articulation is the same on both arms, but Superman here is a little bit different. We'll start with the left arm. We do have your standard bicep swivel, which is pretty standard. We have double bend at the elbow going up to about right there. Really good range there, despite the fact he has these really bulky wraps. Then he does have a ball hinge here at the wrist, which does provide in and out swivel, and it does rotate on that peg. So, having a look at his left arm, it still goes out the same, rotates normally, but he doesn't have a bicep swivel per se. You can see I'm rotating his bicep, but the only thing rotating is his bicep. He actually does have a swivel connecting his shoulder to his elbow. So we only get 90-degree bend with a single joint in the elbow, and then we do have rotation at that elbow, and then you can adjust the bicep accordingly, which I do like that little feature. I think more figures should have that, and to be quite honest. And then we don't get a ball hinge at the wrist. Unfortunately, we only have a swivel and an in and out hinge, so we can't have up and down movement. And if you try moving it up and down, you do pop that joint out of socket, so just be aware of that. And then we do have a ball joint here at the waist, or at the mid-torso and at the waist. Combining both those joints gives us some pretty good leaning back, some pretty decent forward mobility, and some really awesome side-to-side. Just look at that side-to-side movement on Superman here. Then we do get rotation at the waist and at that chest cut, so I really do like that. Legs do kick forward to about right there, which is pretty good, to be quite honest. Goes back about that far, which could be better. Goes out to the side. It would go out all the way, but as you can see, the chains kind of do limit it, so it only goes a little bit past 45 degrees. We do have somewhat of a thigh swivel, so I do like that. We have a double bend here at the knee going pretty far back. No boot cut swivel, but we do have rotation here at the foot. We have a hinge in the ankle, which it's pretty limited because of his boot. Now, the boot is a rubber covering, so it does get out of the way slightly, going back and forward, but you really don't get too much movement. And then we do have forward facing pin for rocker ankle. And then finally, we do have a toe hinge. So overall, Death Metal Superman here is a pretty nice figure, especially if you ignore the face, but that face really does throw off the look of this figure. I mean, that's a pretty nice looking figure as it is, but throwing that head, paper bag treatment for this Superman. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have Death Metal Superman posed for my final thoughts. And overall, there are things to like about this figure, but there's also things not to like about this figure. For starters, it's not your traditional Superman, which I know that turns a lot of people off from the McFarlane toys. That's not your quote-unquote classic costume, but we already got a classic costume Superman in the line, so it's only natural that we get other versions of Superman. Now, this Superman does suffer a lot from the face sculpt. A lot of the times, a lot of figures are defined by the face sculpt, and then you'd make your judgment on there. Here, I gotta make a judgment call and just say this head sculpt is garbage. It is virtual trash. If there was a better head sculpt that they made for him, I would honestly switch this in a heartbeat. This is a very terrible head sculpt. The figure overall is really nice. I do like the fact that we get some awesome detailing, especially on the arms. I love the cape wrapped around his arm and his legs. That looks really cool. And then the duster knuckles on the right hand that's infected with Darkseid. Ooh, this looks like a really awesome figure. And the amount of detailing on the chain is really nice. Like I said, it just sucks that this figure has such a terrible head sculpt, because overall, if we ignore the head, this is a really beautifully well executed figure with some interesting articulation points, especially in the arms, how they're too different. But throw on the head and it really changes the ball game here. It's not a good head sculpt, and it does make the figure look goofy. It looks like Michael Jackson and Jay Leno had a child, and this is what came out of it, especially with the face. It looks terrible. I know I said that once, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying that this is a very bad head sculpt. This is up there with the McFarlane Batman design, or the Batman design by McFarlane. That's a pretty bad head sculpt. 90s nostalgia is there, but this has no nostalgia on it. So yeah, this is a missed mark by McFarlane, and I really do hope that if they revisit this figure, we get a brand new head sculpt. If you are looking for the Death Metal Superman, I did pick up mine from Target.com for $19.99. I actually picked up the entire case of figures for $19.99 when they were on sale. Thankfully, they didn't cancel this, because then I would have had to pay full price. The regular price for the Death Metal series is $25. That is because they come with a Build-A-Figure piece for the Darkfather, and he does come with the arms, which is a necessary piece for the Darkfather. So if you really need to complete the Darkfather, or you just want an interesting Superman, this is a really interesting pick to have in your collection. Although, again, I can see a lot of people being turned off by the face sculpt, because it's honestly that bad. So with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I will gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.